Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday morning. All right, it's the weekend. What's everybody planning on doing? For most people, one of those things is probably going to the grocery store. I will tell you this. If you plan on going, budget a little bit more time this time for the grocery. No, I'm not going to talk about grocery stores or anything like that. It's just a case in point. Because yesterday, Mrs. P and I went to the grocery. Okay, typical once every about 10 days trip to the grocery store for us. The shelves were a little thin. I mean, to the point where there was maybe about 10 or 12 gallons of milk in the cooler. Funny thing is, 18 eggs were $2.39. Remember, 9 months ago, we were complaining about eggs being 50 cents a piece. Okay, and at the same time, you hear people talking about nobody's chickens are laying. Interesting, right? No chickens are laying, but eggs are cheap. Okay, but that's not the point. The point was, at the grocery store yesterday, when we went to check out, we were 6 people deep in line. It's like, okay. And so at the point, it didn't really cross my mind too much. I kind of joked to the cashiers. I said, "Are you guys shorthanded today?" "No." "Okay." I'm like, "All right, your grocery store. You know people shop on Friday, Saturday, Sunday primarily." And I mean, they were moving along. So I was talking to somebody else yesterday who went grocery shopping yesterday at a big store and said the same thing, that the lines in the grocery store were so long, they were back into the aisles. Okay? Now, if you think about it, yesterday was what, the 24th? Okay, that's not a welfare check day. That's not a EBT deposit day. It's kind of the old running joke when I lived in Vegas. You never went to the casinos on the first of the month because that's when everybody came with their welfare checks. But, okay, this was a Friday. Should be a little bit more, but it wasn't anything weird. So you got to thinking about it. Go, why? All right, so let's move on to this. So I run across this morning. What Americans worry about. And the number one thing that Americans worry about, 52% of Americans say they are worried about the cost of living. Okay, how much stuff costs. No question, we all are. We all have been since COVID, basically. That inflation keeps going up, kind of like I said yesterday. Inflation goes up 3%, so congratulations, seniors, you get 2.8% in a cost of living adjustment. Oh, okay. Where's the other 0.2% come from? Don't worry about it. Sure. You can just eat a little less. Okay. Use less electricity. But the second thing that Americans are most worried about is crime. 42% of the public is worried about crime. Now, somebody may say, well, those are the people that live in the city. Crime's higher in the city. I tell everybody this. Crime's everywhere. May not be as obvious, but you live in the rural areas, there's still crime. There's still bad guys everywhere, all right? And trust me, the cartels like to go out in the rural areas where there aren't a whole lot of people to set up operations. But let's start combining the two of them. What do we have? Next Friday is Halloween. Next Saturday is when all the EBT stuff is supposed to hit. And we've heard over and over and over again that people are going to be stealing from the grocery stores or stealing from the people pushing their carts out to the car full of their paid-for groceries. And they're preparing for it. They won't say it, but I will bet that a lot of the people that are in the stores yesterday, inevitably going to be in the stores today, are buying groceries so they don't have to go next week. Prepping. I mean, granted, it's getting a week ahead of the game, but okay. Why? Because they want to stay away from the criminals. Because the criminals have all come out and said, we're going into Walmart, we're going into Kroger, we're going into Piggly Wiggly, and we're taking whatever they want if they don't give us our food stamps. The administration said last night they are not going to use any emergency funding to fund food stamps. Okay? It is what it is, right? If they can't pay the military, then food stamps is, in my opinion, a step down from doing that. Protecting the country is first. So you've got to be concerned about crime and food at the same time. When we get to a point where people are stealing food, that tells me one of two things. Either the country's desperate, which in some cases we are, or the country has completely lost our moral compass, which we have. That's the issue that we're facing right now, is we have so many people out there. I mean, was it 12% of the U.S., 1 in 8 people is on food stamps, that they don't care. The government owes it to me. Food should be free. Okay. Food can be free, or damn close, if you grow it yourself, right? But it's amazing how all the same people who are screaming for $20 minimum wage, right, figure that the guy at the grocery store should work for free. The truck driver who brought the food to the grocery store should work for free. They're all pro-illegal. Who's going to pick your strawberries? But these same people think Juan and Maria should be out in the fields picking your strawberries for free. Somebody else should pay them, but I shouldn't have to. So what I'm saying, we've lost our moral compass. We've completely lost common sense. Everybody should be paid, but nobody should have to spend the money. Juan and Maria should go to work. I shouldn't. Juan and Maria should pick the stuff so I can eat. That's their logic. That's liberal logic. Okay. But so you go to this weekend, and for the most part, people are going to go to work next week. They don't want to go grocery shopping on the 1st and be in the line of fire, if you will. They don't want to risk walking out to the car with their groceries and get mugged. If you're going to get groceries and you can't do it during the week, my suggestion, do it this weekend, buy extra, and budget a little extra time. Because a lot of other people seem to have the same idea. And when you get to the store and things are picked over, and there's only 10 or 12 gallons of milk left in the cooler, maybe that's why. It's called prepping. This is going to be a short-term SHTF. Nothing may happen next Saturday. Let's hope. We'll hear the occasional story, but let's hope it's not a mass craziness. It's not like thieves are waiting for a day on the calendar to go commit a crime. They don't plan like that. But the uproar that you're going to hear next week, protect yourself, stay out of it, and be prepared. Pinball out.